Hi, this is Helen from the Therapy Hub, and I'm talking to you today a little bit more about what I've already spoken about and taking that a little bit of a step further. So previously, I was talking about taking action and whether we are truly ready. And I was talking about the reasons we might give ourselves about why we aren't ready to take action. And I asked you to have a think about what those blocks might be for you taking action. So, what are the reasons that you give yourself for not taking that action? And really letting that sit with you and really think about what those blocks are, what those things are that come up for you. So is it that you tell yourself you're too busy, you haven't got time? Is it that you say to yourself that you've got a half term or a holiday coming up with the children and you're too busy and you won't possibly be able to do the thing that you've planned to do? Is it because you're telling yourself you haven't got the money to do it, you can't invest in it right now? Is it because you just say to yourself that you're not truly ready, you're not in the right place for it at the moment? Is it because you feel embarrassed about doing that thing? So to start with, you feel inspired, but then when you think about it, you start to feel nervous or embarrassed. What are those things that stop you from taking that action? So that's what I was talking about before. So I thought I'd take that a little bit further. And actually, I'm interested to know, because I talk to people a lot, obviously, about hypnotherapy and about EFT, which I both do. And it's interesting to know that people have these concepts, these ideas about what hypnotherapy is, and about, actually not too many people know what EFT is. Some people do, but it's interesting in the hypnotherapy field what people still believe about hypnotherapy. So actually, I'm interested to know from you about this, about what you think hypnotherapy is, because lots of people still think that they're going to be put under. I was asked the other day, will I be put under? And which sounds really quite almost as if it's like a medical procedure. And that's not what hypnotherapy is about. So actually, I'm interested to hear from you about what your thoughts are about what hypnotherapy is, because I'd like to talk to you about what hypnotherapy actually is and what it involves, and sort of dispel some of those myths about it. I have actually written a blog, it's on my website, and I talk about the myths surrounding hypnotherapy. But I thought it would be nice to drop in and talk a bit more about hypnotherapy with you. But first of all, I'd like your feedback about what you actually think hypnotherapy is about. What happens during a session? What do you think is going to happen? And whether you've heard of EFT. Do you know anything about EFT? I'd be interested to hear from you about this. So do comment about it, okay? Don't be afraid to say anything. I'm not going to be offended. So just tell me what your thoughts are, because it's just an interesting point of discussion, because I know there are still lots of people. I'm not saying everybody, because I don't want to tar everybody with the same brush, but I know there are lots of people still walking around thinking that I'm going to do certain things in a hypnotherapy session, and actually I'm not going to do those things at all. So I'd be interested in your feedback, first of all, before I do another video on actually what hypnotherapy is. So do comment and let me know what you think hypnotherapy is. Okay, it's fine to say whatever you think it is, and then I can do a video on it and explain exactly what happens in a session, so that you know what's happening and you feel a bit more reassured about what goes on in a session. Okay, so that's the first thing. I'd be interested in some feedback about that, hypnotherapy, and any thoughts about EFT. Do you know what it is? What happens in EFT? Okay, so do let me know. I'd be interested to find out from you. So don't be shy. Just pop in a comment and let me know about it. That would be great. So surrounding that sort of hypnotherapy concept, I just wanted to discuss or talk a little bit more about what you might possibly be feeling about coming for some therapy sessions, for some hypnotherapy or EFT, and what might be going back to that taking action and feeling ready. It may be cropping up for you that the reason that you aren't stepping into getting help, and it's not necessarily with me, it might be with another therapist, another hypnotherapist, okay? But I'm interested because obviously I want you to get the help that you need, okay? And that's what I'm about. I'm about helping people to get what they need so they can move forward in their life, so they can get rid of that stress, so they can get relief from that anxiety, so they can erase that phobia and move forward in their life. And that's what I'm about. So I'm interested in discussing this at the moment because I've had a few clients asking questions, and I thought to myself, well, actually, I'm just wondering what's going on here, what's going through people's minds connected to hypnotherapy and EFT. So that's why I'm talking about it now. So I'm just wondering what crops up in your mind and what stops you from feeling ready, what stops you from taking that action, because you're obviously aware to some extent of what's happening for you. You're feeling uncomfortable, you're not feeling happy, you're being dragged down by this anxiety, this stress. What's going on for you? So is it because you're not sure of what exactly is going to happen during a hypnotherapy session? Is it because you're worrying about whether you'll be made to do certain things in a session that you're not comfortable with? Is that a reason for you not feeling ready? Or is there a reason behind it that you feel nervous? You just feel nervous about telling somebody about your difficulty. Okay, so is that a reason why you're not feeling ready? Is it because you're worrying about what might emerge during the sessions of hypnotherapy? So you are aware of these things that are kind of tangled up inside of you, your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, those events that have happened to you in your life. You're worrying about those things cropping up during the sessions and not being able to handle it. Is that something you're worrying about? And that's something that's stopping you from taking action or stopping you from feeling ready? Those are the things that are going on for you. Is it that you are worrying about paying out for the sessions? You're thinking, well, I can't really afford this. I can't afford to pay out this money just to work on myself. You know, I've got these other things to do. You know, I've got to pay out for this. I've got to do that. I need to do this. You know, whatever those things are you then saying to yourself, well, I can't actually invest in this hypnotherapy right now, you know, just for myself? You know, isn't that a bit selfish? I want to actually spend some money on actually me, not what I'm wearing, not my makeup, not my hair, not my nails, not going on holiday, not going out for a meal or whatever, not doing a sporting thing or going to the gym. What is it that's stopping you? Okay. Are you thinking to yourself, well, I can't do this, I can't invest in myself, because investing in ourselves is kind of like a bit of a, it sounds like it's not something concrete. It's not something you can take home with you and say, oh, I've bought this thing. It's actually working on yourself and who you are. So I just wanted to sort of bring all those things up and talk about them a little bit. So, you know, the nervousness and the worrying about what might happen in a hypnotherapy session, I can do a video and talk about what happens in a hypnotherapy session. That's why I've asked you for some feedback, because I'm interested to hear about what you think about hypnotherapy and EFT and what might happen in a session. So I can talk to you about that and let you know exactly what does happen. Okay. If you're worrying about being made to do things in a session that you're not ready for or you're not comfortable with, it's not about being made to do anything or doing stuff that's uncomfortable. It's about working through things together. And I'm here to work with my clients, the people that come to see me. I'm here to support them through that process. And I'm not saying that you're going to come for a session and it's all going to be fun and laughter, because actually you are going to be working on something that needs resolving. And so sometimes it can feel a little bit like, oh, what's going on here? And you may get tearful, but that's a good thing. It's actually a good thing. Okay, it's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. And what we need to do in order to release things, in order to work through things, is to actually get that emotional release. Because if you think about it, you've had that all caught up in your body and you're squashing it all down, and it's kind of getting trapped right down inside your body and squashed up in there. And that's what's going on for you. You're squashing all that down, or you've squashed it all down in the past. And now actually it wants to come out. That's why you are experiencing symptoms, because all that stuff, all that horrible stuff that's been caught up in there actually is trying to escape. And at the moment it's coming out in wisps and different symptoms. Okay, you know, you might have and stress in your neck and aches and pains in your shoulders. You might have stomach ache. You might get upset stomachs. You might get problems walking. You might get terrible headaches. You might have shaky hands. You might get heart palpitations. All those things are happening for a reason. Okay. And you might also be feeling those emotional thoughts. Okay, so you might have low mood, you might have nervousness about doing things, you might not feel confident about doing something, you might have low self-esteem, you might be anxious about things going on, and you might be using coping mechanisms to help you out. You might have phobias of things. They're all there for a reason. It's because your subconscious, okay, is trying to protect you. That's why it puts those things in place. And the whole point of the hypnotherapy is to help you release that stuff. Okay, so that it's not about making you do anything. It's always, I work with my clients, we work as a team. Okay, we work together. So we work things through step by step. And I'm here to help you. Basically, at the end of the day, I'm here to help you to do that. Okay, and it's actually a good thing, and you are going to get the best results from doing that. So that's about that. About having the time to do it. If we really want to do something, we make time. Okay, if it's something that's important to us, we do make time. Okay, it's very easy to get distracted, to not make time to do things, basically because we're blocking ourselves for some reason. Okay, so usually if you can't find that time, it means that something's going on for you right now that you don't actually want to make that time. So whether it's because you're nervous, whether it's because you're fearful, whether it's because you're unsure of what's going to happen, that's usually what it's about. Okay, or because you don't feel you're important enough. Okay, so think about that as well. Are you important enough? Well, I can tell you the answer right now. You are important enough. Okay, you are. You are the most important person whatever you think. You might say to me, no, I'm not. My children are the most important, my parents, my partner. You are the most important person, because if you aren't functioning properly, if you're not feeling healthy, if you're not feeling on top of who you are, then all of that crumbles away, because you can't give that time to your children. You can't give that time to your partner because you're not well yourself. So it all starts with you. It all really does start with you. So if that's what you're thinking, I can tell you now that you are important, okay? So I'd like to say that to you today. You are important. Whatever you might think of yourself, you are important, okay? I can't stress that enough, you can tell. So that might be another reason why you're saying, I can't do this right now. I can't help myself. I can't go and see a hypnotherapist. I can't see a therapist because I haven't got the time, and the reasons behind not having the time, there'll be something there, okay? So thinking about all those things that might be blocking you from going to get that help, okay? If it's about the money side of things, thinking, well, I haven't got the money to invest in this right now. Again, it goes back to that importance of you, okay? How you function as a person, whether you're feeling ill, whether you can't function because you can't think straight, because you're anxious, because you've got a phobia, because you're stressed, it's important to sort that out, because you're not really going to enjoy the things that you're spending money on if you aren't feeling well in yourself as a person. And I think we're all guilty of this. We're all guilty of putting ourselves at the bottom of the list. And we think to ourselves, oh, I don't really need to spend time on that. I'll be okay, you know. But actually, as time rolls on, we're not okay. And it takes sometimes until we're actually right down on our knees before we do anything. And I don't want that to be the case for people. I want people to come and get help before then. I don't want them to reach that low point, okay? And I know that it is an investment. I know that. But I personally, myself, I offer payment plans so that people can spread the cost of coming for therapy. Okay, they can come and see me. Yes, their appointments are spread out over a period of time. So you may have a longer break between sessions, but actually that can be really quite beneficial because it gives people time to process what's happened during a session and to work on things themselves at home. So think about that. You know, there are ways and means around it, but also it's about thinking yourself is important enough to invest in. Okay, you are important enough to invest in. Can you really not afford to do it? Okay, you might say, I can't afford to do this, but can you not afford to come and help yourself? Okay, to go out there and get some help for you. So those are all things that I thought that may have come up thinking about why you're not feeling ready, why you're not taking action to actually go out there and get that help for yourself. And I think they are all important things for us to think about. We all need help sometimes. It's not something, this is another thing that could crop up. You may be feeling a bit ashamed. You think, well, oh gosh, you know, I don't like feeling like this. I feel embarrassed. I feel ashamed that I feel this way. I don't really want to tell anyone, you know, I feel like this. And I understand that because we think, oh, you know, sometimes we think to ourselves, oh, I should be able to manage that. I should be able to do this. I should be able to do this on my own. Okay. But sometimes we can't. There's just too many things that we need help with, that need help sorting out. And sometimes, even when we are trying to help ourselves out in a certain way, we actually block ourselves in the process. Whereas when you're working with somebody else, they actually see it from a different perspective, from a different viewpoint, and they can help you to move through that process so that you're actually sorting it out quicker than if you were alone and trying to do it on your own. And I know it can feel very lonely as well if you're not having that someone there to support you and help you through the process. So those are all things, before I babble on anymore, that I wanted to talk about because I feel really quite passionate about it. And it's just things that have been sort of ticking through my mind. And I've been thinking, well, I wonder if people feel like this. I wonder if people feel like that. And I just want to talk to them and explain a bit about it. So do give me feedback about hypnotherapy. Do give me feedback about EFT and what you think those things are actually about. And then what I'll do is I'll do another video on hypnotherapy and what hypnotherapy actually is. Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.